I've been with Lillian, the Oscar-winning actress, for 5 years, and we have a son together. But I'm always the hidden lover she can't acknowledge. One night, our child got sick, so we took him to the hospital. Suddenly, we ran into paparazzi. She ditched me and our son and ran off. I was left scrambling with our feverish kid. The next day, Lillian told the media, "No secret marriage, no boyfriend, and definitely no child." Looking at her confidently lying face, I suddenly felt exhausted. I packed up and left the house with my son. My son asked, "Daddy, aren't we telling Auntie Lillian?" My eyes reddened. He's 4 years old now, and he still can't call Lillian mom. He doesn't even know that Lillian is actually his mom. I wiped away my tears and said, "No, Auntie Lillian is just like an aunt. She's busy, let's not bother her." We drove to a parents' event at the kindergarten. The teacher looked behind me. "Jackson's mom isn't coming again?" I awkwardly replied, "She's very busy." "Teacher, this is the only Children's Day once a year." "Me? I'm sorry, Jackson's mom is abroad. She can't make it." The teacher walked away. At the event, every child was with their mom and dad. Only Jackson was with just me. I tried my best to cheer him up, but he wasn't very enthusiastic. After the event, he asked, "Dad, is Mom still in Africa?" I said, "Yeah, she's filming a documentary there." Jackson asked eagerly, "When's she coming back?" I paused and softly said, "In a little while." Earlier, Jackson asked who his mom was and where she was. I casually made up a story that she's an actress filming all over the world. Jackson believed me. He watches TV every day asking, "Dad, is that Mom acting?" I lied, "Yep, isn't Mom amazing?" Jackson cheered. "Mom is so cool." At 1 a.m., I heard a noise in the house. I groggily opened my eyes. My forehead was gently kissed by warm lips. "You awake? Go back to sleep." A woman's voice, soft and magnetic. The gentle nightlight bathed her flawless face. I looked up, meeting her smiling eyes. Lillian gave me a kiss, then leaned over to kiss Jackson on the cheek too. I couldn't help but ask, "Didn't you say you'd be back early today?" Lillian got up, took off her coat, ran into Director Zhang, who I've wanted to meet for a while, took some time. She tossed her coat onto the carpet, unzipped her dress, revealing her graceful neckline. "Who?" She laughed, hugging me. "Don't worry, it's a woman, the best female director in the country." I said, "Oh," because I wasn't surprised. A man couldn't easily sway her, but her career could. On such a significant day as Children's Day, she wouldn't delay seeing our son for a man. It was probably about her career. I was used to it by now. That night, she stayed until 4 a.m. and then hurried off again. Our son found an earring she'd left and asked, "Dad, did Auntie Lillian come last night?" I nodded. "She came especially to celebrate Children's Day with you. You were asleep, so she didn't wake you." He pouted. "Next time, call me. I won't sleep. Mom doesn't come home, and Auntie Lillian works hard to be with Jackson. Jackson wants to play with Auntie Lillian." I forced a smile and said, "Okay." I couldn't tell him that Auntie Lillian was his real mom. I used washing up as an excuse to hide my expression. If I told people that the famous actress visited her secret lover and child in the middle of the night amidst her busy schedule, then left for work again at 4 a.m., everyone would praise her as a good woman. Many times, I told myself, she's done enough, don't ask for more. But the sense of loss, emptiness, and bitterness inside me was growing. After feeding Jackson breakfast, I dropped him off at kindergarten and drove to my job at a nearby photo studio. I numbly took passport photos for people. Repetition, repetition, repetition. People praised my skills, and I forced a tired smile, resting at my desk. My eyes drifted over the geography magazine on my desk, and something deep inside me ached a little. I met Lillian 7 years ago. Back then, I was an optimistic and carefree college student. I loved outdoor sports and photography. I was full of energy. My dream was to graduate, become a photographer, and travel the world photographing wildlife. I never dreamed of being a fan. No, it wasn't fan obsession. It was love at first sight. Back then, Lillian was just a rookie, having recently stepped into the entertainment industry. She had just gained some fame from a popular role in a period drama. She came to our school for a tour. My friend dragged me to check it out and take photos. Lillian was dazzling on stage, and I couldn't take my eyes off her. The host randomly invited an audience member on stage for an interaction. It felt like fate when she picked me as I moved forward with my camera. Hi, student. On stage, Lillian was in a white V-neck dress. She smiled and reached out her hand, her eyes friendly and approachable like a popular senior in school. My heart skipped, and I, usually confident, sweated nervously. I put away the camera, reached out my hand, stuttering, "Hi." As our palms touched, it felt electric. I swear I heard the sound of a seed falling into the earth. I wasn't familiar with the flower nor its name. After the event, I eagerly looked up Lillian's work and was blown away by her singing and acting. She was better than many actors. Such talent deserved recognition. So I edited her work and set up an account writing analysis pieces. Her small number of fans found me, gathering under my posts. I shared the photos I took, and everyone praised them. Someone suggested, "Hey, you take great photos. Become a stand-in fan for her, and we'll support you." Carried away by the moment, I said, "Sure." So, out of nowhere, I ended up becoming Lillian's fan photographer, camera in hand, chasing after her. I went from being a casual fan to a hardcore superfan, all in a way that seemed so natural. Looking back, I still find it hard to understand how it all happened. Before meeting Lillian, I was never into celebrities or the fan scene, but within a few months, I had turned into a die-hard supporter. 7 months later, just when Lillian's career started to pick up, she faced a major setback with a bunch of negative news. She was sidelined for a year and a half, and fans slowly started drifting away. Those who stayed did so secretly, looking for other idols. But me, I stayed constant. Initially, her manager would handle the communication with fans like myself. But during that tough period, the manager kind of dropped the ball with Lillian and handed over my contact to her, so she could connect with me directly. Throughout that year and a half, we chatted a lot and became friends, offering support to each other as strangers turned companions. I kept on updating her fan site consistently. To gather material, we started meeting in person. By that time, Lillian had shed her idol facade and didn't mind having personal interactions with fans. I didn't have much money to offer, but I provided technical support. I did her makeup, took her photos, edited her videos, and even helped her with gigs. It wasn't much, but better than nothing. Lillian appreciated it, saying, "Ken, you're my rock. I don't know how I'd handle this without you." Her words, when I was exhausted, made me feel empowered. If there was a war, I'd probably pick up an AK-47 and clear obstacles for her without a second thought. I believed I was her guardian angel, meant to save her. She was so little and vulnerable, and if even I abandoned her, she'd have nothing left. A year and a half later, the celeb who had insulted Lillian faced scandals. It was revealed that he had verbally abused Lillian first, driving her to respond. With that, Lillian's name was cleared, and fans flocked back apologetically on social media. Her company lifted her ban and started giving her opportunities. She seized the chance, transitioned into movies, and skyrocketed to fame. After an awards ceremony, she came home and placed a little golden trophy in my hands, saying, "Ken, this is our shared glory." Holding it together, we hugged tightly. Throughout the year and a half, Lillian kept pushing for her career, working tirelessly with professionals. Even after many rejections, she never gave up. She only shed tears with me, and the next day, she'd continue chasing her dreams. Whenever she could, she had me help her practice acting. I rehearsed lines with her, acted as an audience, and gave feedback. From start to finish, she never compromised her values or dreams. My feelings for Lillian began with her beauty, grew with her talent, and finally deepened with her character. During those tough times, her resilience, rising every time she fell, made me admire her more, even fall for her. We connected deeply, sharing outdoor adventures, conversations, struggles, laughter, and love. Our coming together was a natural progression. Eventually, I realized that the seeds of our relationship sown when we met blossomed into love. The flower of our love was now in full bloom, bright yet fragile. Lillian's career resurgence brought new challenges to our relationship. If she had remained unknown, being with her publicly wouldn't have mattered. But as she ascended, reaching her first Best Actress award faster than anyone expected, more investments and connections flooded in. She could achieve greater heights. At that moment, I, her outsider boyfriend with no connections, became unsuitable. I suggested we break up, but Lillian disagreed. We were both in pain, not wanting to let go but feeling we had no choice due to reality. The shining facade of our love faded, revealing a camellia, pure, beautiful, fragrant, but with a hint of bitterness. We struggled for a while, and as we neared breaking up, we found out she was pregnant. She pulled out a beautiful ring and proposed, "Let's get married." She said even though she couldn't legally marry me just yet, she swore I'd be her only man for life. Her words were sincere and touching. At this pivotal moment, she had barely transitioned from idol to acclaimed actress, her status uncertain. Even having a boyfriend, let alone a child, could irreparably harm her career. She must have really loved me, and I loved her too, so I agreed. "It's great. Ken, we're having a baby." She beamed. I smiled too, happiness simple and pure, just because we had a baby. That joy turned us into two fools. I naively thought we'd wait a bit. Once her career stabilized, I could step into the light. Unable to reveal our relationship, I could only let her go through pregnancy unmarried. At a critical career point, she even asked me to keep it from my parents. My parents were furious when they found out Lillian was pregnant and I insisted on keeping the baby, threatening to disown me. A whirlwind of fights, tears, and emotional tug-of-war ensued. In the end, I remained steadfast by Lillian's side, moving into her villa, a hidden lover. Lillian got busier, her career booming, winning awards and gaining nationwide fame. I felt a mix of pride and anguish. For her career, I estranged myself from my family. For her career, she left right after returning for the childbirth, and I had to act like it was okay, telling her to go ahead. For her career, I fabricated a story of having a mom in Africa for our child, hiding the truth that Auntie Lillian was his real mother. For her career, I gave up on my own dreams, silently raising our kid and remaining her secret lover. She always said, "Ken, just wait a little longer. Soon we can get officially married, and I'll introduce you to everyone in the country." So I waited and waited. 1 year, then another. The baby was born. The baby grew up. The baby went to preschool. I got tired. On the kid's 4th birthday, Lillian rushed home by 8 p.m. We had a small birthday party, and it was rare for the family to be together. Jackson rarely saw Auntie Lillian, so he refused to go to bed and finally passed out around midnight. At 1 a.m., Jackson had a fever. It wouldn't go down. We rushed to the hospital. In the urgency, Lillian took the time to disguise herself with a hat and mask before heading to the underground parking. It was pouring outside, drenching the city's neon lights in a blur. Rainwater pooled on the roads, reflecting the city's outline. Cars sped by, cutting through the scattered lights. I kept trying to comfort the child, restless and anxious. We got to the hospital entrance. We hopped out of the car, carrying the child to the emergency room. Among the sound of heavy rain, I heard the click of camera shutters. A sound I was used to hearing, so familiar that I could hear it even over the thunderstorm. Lillian was familiar with it too, so familiar she didn't even turn around, just handed the child over to me. I dropped the umbrella and clumsily caught the child. She dashed back into the car and drove away. Jackson cried his eyes out as I stood there in the rain, holding him. The black umbrella rolled around beside me. Lightning streaked the sky as the rain poured down, making everything hard to see. Tears mingled with the rain, distorting everything in my vision. I saw her getting further and further away in the blur. That night was like many other nights. I took the kid to the hospital alone. Talking to doctors, comforting the kid, getting medicine, getting shots and IVs, nothing different. The only difference was I sat alone in the corner, a soaking mess, heart aching and hard to breathe. My phone rang constantly. I checked the caller ID and chose not to answer. By morning, the rain had stopped, and the sky was crystal clear blue. I quietly muttered, "The sky in Africa should be this blue too, right?" When Jackson woke up, I exhaustedly took him home in a cab. The phone lay in my bag, showing 20 missed calls from Lillian. Her last messages read, "Ken, how's Jackson? Has his fever gone down? What caused it?" Her words showed how worried she was. Yet she never showed up at the hospital, not even for a second. She finally said, "I have to get to the set." I lingered over the phone before replying, "Jackson's okay." Lillian is a committed actor. Even in the dead of winter, if the director asked her to jump in a lake, she'd do it without hesitation. Always on time for shoots, sometimes early, never keeping others waiting. If a scene wasn't perfect, she'd insist on reshooting, even if it took over a dozen tries. But she was too ambitious, too dedicated. All her time went into her career, putting me and the kid at the very bottom. She canceled plans time and again, and each time I tolerated it. But I grew weary. I couldn't help but text her, "Lillian, I'll be applying to join a photography team for a magazine soon. To shoot animals, landscapes, culture, You'll need to look after the kid." That afternoon, I got a message from Lillian. "Thinking of going to Africa again? That place is dangerous and tough. Why go there? Still upset about last night? I might take some time off later to be with you both. Also, try not to go out the next few days. Richard will have people watching over you." Reading her response, I laughed bitterly. Lillian had always opposed me going to Africa to photograph animals. But it's not about Africa for me. I just wanted to follow my dream. It didn't matter where or what I photographed, I needed a platform for my creativity. It didn't have to be Africa. It could be Europe, America, or even a small rural town at home. She could chase her dreams, but I was expected to abandon mine, stay home, and look after the kid, waiting for someone who's never home. The phone pinged with news alerts. I opened it. There was news trending about Lillian allegedly being secretly married. Some paparazzo was making bold claims that Lillian was secretly wed. They listed lots of clues, suspecting Lillian was hiding a partner, even a child. Among the attached photos was a blurry one from the rain-soaked night, with Lillian carrying Jackson out of the car door and me holding an umbrella getting out. Just two blurred backs, nothing identifiable. Lillian's reaction was smart. She didn't turn around, immediately handed over the kid, lowered her head, got back in the car, and left to avoid being identified. Commenters mocked the idea, saying it looked like a guy just taking a sick kid to the hospital after calling a rideshare, where the driver might have helped with the child, not an actress hiding a marriage. Ridiculous, they said. People didn't believe it. I felt relieved for Lillian, but the relief was followed by a wave of pain. This had played out many times. She'd break promises, leave me and the kid for work, always with valid reasons. I couldn't even blame her. To do so would seem unreasonable and demanding. But it hurt, a deepening hurt. I anxiously followed the news. The paparazzo released more info, posting 2 clearer photos of Lillian and me on a trip abroad, trying to confirm her secret marriage. One photo showed her back so clearly, with her outfit matched to another occasion, proving it was her. The issue snowballed. That night, Lillian responded on a show. "No secret marriage, no husband, definitely no kid. Thank you." Her smile was calm, as if the whole thing was just a rumor. I stared at her face on screen, trying to catch any sign. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. After a jolt of pain in my chest, a calm swept over me. The next day, Richard showed up, demanding to put 2 bodyguards at the house and that I stay put in the villa 24/7. I refused his demands. He was furious. "Do you know disobeying will cause major problems for Lillian?" I said, "I just want a normal life." He stared at me for a moment, then scoffed. "Don't think I don't know. People like you wish the paparazzi would catch you so you could step out of the shadows. Dream on. Just stay out of trouble. Daddy." Jackson clung to my leg in fear. Richard rubbed his head. "Good Lord, Lillian, it's bad enough you play around with men. But you actually had a kid. You're giving me a lot of trouble here." I suppress my anger and gently send the kid to play in the children's room. Once Jackson's gone, I put on a cold face and ask, even if they expose me and the kid, how much does it really affect her? Plenty, Richard said. She signed a singles contract. You guys absolutely can't go public. I said, she's definitely single. Richard was momentarily taken aback. I spoke calmly. She never married me from the start. She's always been single. She didn't break the agreement. She's very careful. She won't let me call her my wife. Doesn't allow Jackson to call her mom. Jackson doesn't even know she's his mom. Richard was silent for a moment, then laughed. Good, as it should be. Yeah, as it should be. I wanted to laugh, but couldn't. I said, I'm quitting. By noon, I went to the photography shop to resign. The manager kept trying to keep me, but I stayed firm on leaving. Richard, happy I knew my place, told me to stay put and not cause trouble for Lillian. I said, okay. Then I headed to Jackson's preschool to wrap things up. The teacher was disappointed. Why? Jackson's fitting in very well. I said, Jackson's mom settled in another city, so we have to move. Oh, I see. The teacher wished us the best as a family finally reunited. I thanked her. Knowing Jackson wasn't even going to preschool, Richard was more than satisfied. A couple of days later, Jackson was completely recovered. I packed our things, took off the ring, and set it on the nightstand. I glanced around this place we'd lived in for a few years. Lillian was never stingy with material things. Every item was luxurious and exquisite. But this home didn't belong to me. Jackson asked, Daddy, shouldn't we tell Auntie Lillian? I patted his little head and said, Auntie Lillian's busy, let's not bother her. But I'll miss Auntie Lillian, Jackson said. I replied, she's just an aunt. We've been guests here long enough and it's time to go. Jackson nodded his little head. Yeah, we shouldn't trouble others for too long. I smiled faintly and took his little hand. Let's go, Jackson. Okay, Jackson said. We had a smooth departure. Richard was off handling other matters, not at the villa. Before we left, I glanced at the perfectly tended garden with its few camellias. They say camellias bloom longer than other flowers, for up to 7 months. My feelings for Lillian also lasted 7 years. Flowers have their time to bloom. Even at their fullest, brightest bloom, there comes an end. I used to think being with the one you love, overcoming all odds, was happiness. But that happiness slowly wore away in endless waiting and countless lonely days. On the road, I called home again. The number you dialed is unreachable. Still can't get through. After my fallout, I called often but got blocked. I even returned home only to be stopped at the door every time. I took Jackson to the hotel we booked and let him play at the playground he'd been dreaming about. I thought they'd notice we were gone quickly, but after 2 days, Lillian hasn't reached out. I don't know if she hadn't noticed or just didn't care. Dad, stop playing with your phone. Jackson was upset as we ate pizza. I was taken aback, put down my phone, and said, okay, it's strange. I wanted to leave, yet here I am waiting for a call. I hoped to talk to her on the phone, explain my resolve to break up. I imagined so much, prepared long, detailed mental notes, but never thought she just wouldn't reach out. Makes me seem like a fool in a show of unreciprocated affection. Honestly, over the years, I've been a fool. Huh? Thinking hard, what's there left to say? Nothing, really. Just accusing her of whatever. I could foresee her defending herself out of necessity, with all sorts of valid excuses. And then we'd repeat a familiar cycle of arguments that I can recite by heart, getting nowhere. Talking doesn't actually mean anything. My feelings don't amount to much in the grand scheme of her career. Repeating trivial things in her ear won't change her mind, it'll just seem baffling. Why bother? I laughed, relieved, and deleted all of Lillian's contact info. And I blocked anyone associated with her too. Breaking away from the entertainment world isn't hard. Saying it's hard is just a lie. In this age where everyone's chasing attention, unless deliberately marketing, who'd care if someone's in or out of the limelight or what they're doing? Someone like me, just regular folk, goes unnoticed. As long as Lillian doesn't see us, even if Jackson and I ran naked in the streets, it'd only draw laughs, not a ripple. I want Jackson and me to live a normal life, Lillian to focus on work. If we part ways and don't meet, that's the best solution. We knew this from the start, but for so-called love, we force things, just causing trouble, tiring everyone out. It's better now. We're both free. I took Jackson back to my hometown, only to get shut out again. My mother's a strong-willed woman. She means what she says. She's a self-made businesswoman, known locally for honoring her word. She said she didn't want me as her son, and she really doesn't. To her, reputation is everything. I, her son, am a blemish, interrupting her reputation and career, so she just doesn't want me. She'll throw away anything hindering her career, even family. My mother and Lillian are alike in this way. Sure, I was the one who wronged the family first, so I can swallow my pride and beg over and over. But I never wronged Lillian, so I walked away pretty decisively. Mom, Dad, Sis, Jackson and I came back to see you. I shouted from outside the villa. The yard was quiet, no response. I left the gifts at the gate and walked away with Jackson. Jackson felt uneasy. Do Grandma and Grandpa not like me? I patted his head and said, they will like you because Jackson is awesome. Jackson is my precious. Every year I bring him and every time the door stays shut. I made mistakes and being ignored is something I have to live with. But Jackson did nothing wrong. He shouldn't have to go through this. So from now on, I won't bring him back. On the road, I got a call from an unknown number. When I picked up, I heard a familiar voice. Ken, where did you take Jackson? Richard mentioned you've been gone for 2 days. Back home, I said shortly. A few days ago, I had so much to say, waiting for her call to spill it all out. But now I had no words. It was like those years we spent together, from endless conversations and shared laughter and tears, to simple smiles and mentions of work or the kid, then silence. An invisible wall stood between us. Some say couples with too much of a gap between them will end up breaking apart. I didn't believe it before. Now I do. She stepped into a dazzling world while I stayed behind. Less communication, less understanding, and all that's left is silence. I guess that's what it means to have no common ground. You should take a break. On the other end, she paused, then cautiously asked, when will you be back? I said, I'm not coming back. Not coming back? Yeah. I turned to look out the car window at the evening sky, where the sharp buildings split the sunset in two. The view was breathtaking. See, there's nothing that can't be divided. Split apart, and it feels kind of beautiful. Lillian, we're breaking up. Don't come to see us anymore. You can focus on your career. I leaned back in the seat. Wait till the day you let Jackson call you mom. Then come see him. Though honestly, I hope you never see him, to keep him from confusion. I hung up and blocked the number again. The next day, I took Jackson to City S. I'd sent a resume to a magazine before, hoping to do some model photography. The portfolio photos were ones I'd taken of Lillian. It's kind of funny. Besides shooting her, I'd only ever taken passport photos. The only impressive work I had was of Lillian. The magazine hired me. That's how I started working there as a photographer. A real, creative kind of photographer, not just snapping passports all day. I rented a place, found a kindergarten, and got Jackson enrolled. He was so understanding. Dad, don't worry, I'll be good. I felt a lump in my throat and hugged him lightly. Remember, besides me, don't go with anyone. What about Auntie Lillian? He asked. Not even her, I said. Lillian's secret marriage buzz was dying down. She's super cautious, and paparazzi couldn't find anything solid. Some random shots from behind couldn't prove a thing. I deleted tons of apps and turned off notifications. Gossip no longer mattered. Life became calm. Without Lillian, I didn't have to worry about paparazzi, wish for her return, or be stuck in the studio every day. It's nice. I didn't go to Africa to shoot wildlife. Having a kid makes work trickier, but I didn't mind. Starting as a photographer, success didn't come easy, pay was low. This industry thrives on connections. With referrals, jobs are plentiful and life's good. Without, it's slim pickings from the magazine's offers. Luckily, my skills impress people, especially in portraits. I started getting clients, taking private jobs here and there. Online gigs too, with pay hopping from $200 to $800 fast. I'm not a big-name photographer, but it's enough to live on and buy Jackson cool clothes. Soon, Some up-and-coming celebs turned to me for shots. They couldn't afford famous photographers, so they'd try me out. I treated all equally, putting my best effort into their photos. I'd pick the best angles and moments, driven to make them stars. If they didn't turn out great, I'd reshoot until perfect, much to their frustration. Yet they relished this struggle. Seeing their excitement over the final shots gave me a real sense of achievement. I always left work on time to pick up Jackson. Career's important, but so is family. I don't want Jackson waiting like I did. Being late has a snowball effect. Once late for pickup, it soon repeats. Before long, someone else might take over. Then maybe I'd not return, leaving Jackson with a nanny. Like Lillian did. Punctuality turned to unreliability, to no shows, each time with an excuse. I could tell Jackson I had work and might be late, but I refuse. When I declare work delays, Jackson would likely say it's fine, but he'd be upset inside. Life went on, calm yet fulfilling. Not long after, I had a photo set go viral online. The star was a young celeb, whose schoolgirl pics made her famous, dubbing her the national school beauty. "Ken, you're a lifesaver. I want to treat you to dinner," she said excitedly over the phone. I couldn't decline and accepted. Her name was Wendy, full of sweetness and charm, with cute dimples when she smiled. Just judging by her face, you might think she's the girl next door. But in reality, she's tall with a cool aura, a total contrast. When I first saw her, I wanted to capture that contrast in a photo shoot to really show her unique qualities. Sure enough, once the photos were out and had some marketing, she blew up. At dinner, she kept praising me. With a bit of alcohol, I loosened up. No need to thank me. I got paid. Highlighting your unique features was my job. Plus, photos need marketing and a bit of luck, right timing, right place, right people to truly blow up. Wendy poured me another drink. Other photographers tried your concept but failed. Your photos had the impact we needed to market them successfully. You're really talented. It was the first time a client complimented me so sincerely. I raised my glass with a smile. Cheers to your bright future. She raised her glass too. And to your dreams coming true. I paused. Dreams coming true? I found myself liking this 21-year-old girl. Later, Wendy introduced me to many commercial gigs, mostly her friends. They were mostly trainees, small-time celebs, or influencers. Their photos didn't get as famous as Wendy's, but given my rates, they were satisfied. As time went by, Wendy and I got closer. She reminded me a lot of Lillian. After struggling for so long, she seized her chance and climbed up without letting any opportunity slip. Now she snagged a second lead role in an A-grade TV show. She said I was her good luck charm, inviting me, "Ken, will you be my go-to photographer?" I nodded with a slight smile. Sure, as long as the pay's right. I'm past being impulsive. I used up all my passion on Lillian. No matter how intensely anyone pursues, I stay calm. Wendy's success made me a hit in the photography world, with offers pouring in like a blizzard. One offer was tempting. They offered me $10,000 for a shoot with a celebrity. That's a pretty sweet deal. I replied, "Understand, I have a child. I can only shoot locally and need to wrap up by 4 p.m. They said it was fine. I happily went to the location. I went inside. A familiar, graceful silhouette stood by the window, with sunlight outlining her, glowing. "Lillian." I turned to leave. "Ken." Lillian ran over and grabbed me. "Let go." We were alone in the room. She hugged me tightly. I took a deep breath and stopped resisting. "Lillian, let go." "No," she said. "Ken, you're so heartless to leave me looking for you," she accused me. I turned my head, seeing her relieved expression, and felt conflicted inside. "Lillian, we're already done," I said. "I didn't agree. We should have broken up long ago." "Stop saying that." She held on tight. I let her hug me. Feeling her embrace, I couldn't recapture that old feeling. Once blooms camellias, they eventually wither. Love fades, emotions vanish. Those once moving and joyful hugs no longer stirred any warmth. Lillian whispered love into my ear, asking me to come back. I listened to her rant on, saying nothing. Her grip was tight and it hurt a bit. After a while, I asked, Can Jackson call you Mom openly? She fell silent. I asked again. Can we get married openly? She was silent for a long time, then said with difficulty, Ken, give me more time. I pushed her hands off me. This time, it didn't take much strength and I easily moved her away. See, no matter how much she says she loves, when it comes to her future, she can let go. Why do you think you deserve more time? I asked her. What gave you the idea I'd wait for you forever? That I'd always want to marry you? Just because you're successful and award-winning actress, earn more, and I'm just an ordinary guy, you expect me to always wait silently in the shadows, come when called? Or is it because you think you're better than me, I should sacrifice everything for you like a servant to a queen? Lillian stayed silent. Or is it because you're an award-winning actress, lured me here, hugged and kissed me without my consent? It's not harassment? The law makes you innocent? Lillian's eyes widened. She seemed shocked by my coldness. Ken, you know I don't mean that. We're broken up, Lillian, I said. Lillian got mad. But I'm Jackson's mom. I felt a sting behind my eyes. Lillian, we never married from start to finish. Jackson's been raised by me. I'm Ken. He's Jackson. It was you who didn't want him calling you mom, to keep the secret, saying you're his aunt. Now you say he's your son. Are you brave enough to own that? Lillian's lips moved, but no words came out. I stared at her, continuing. I don't need you to marry me, or publicly say I'm your boyfriend. I don't care anymore. Just publicly acknowledge Jackson is your son. Then you can see him as his mom. Can you do that? Silence filled the room. Sunlight streamed in through the window, lighting half the room, leaving the other half dark. Lillian stood at the line between light and dark, her face shadowed. She didn't answer, but by not answering, she already had. I wiped away my tears and walked out. That Wednesday, I picked up Jackson after school, and as we made our way home, a familiar figure blocked our path outside the apartment. It was Richard. He wasn't happy. Lillian wants to see you. His gaze at me was like looking at gum stuck to his shoe. I said, no. Richard was angry. What are you trying to pull? Lying low like you're supposed to, but instead run off to S-City to be a photographer. And you got famous. Are you trying to wreck Lillian? I paused, continuing to walk away without looking back. Did you hear me? He pursued me and grabbed my arm. Jackson screamed, Dad! I forcefully pushed Richard off. He looked at me, astonished. Stay away from me and my kid. If I see you again, I'll spill the beans about me and Lillian on the street. Richard hesitated for a minute and said, You wouldn't do that. You've been watching her kids for years, waiting to openly be with her. You wouldn't ruin her. I replied, that was before, not anymore. Richard frowned. Okay, you win. This playing hard to get has completely driven Lillian crazy. She's turned down a lot of gigs these past 2 months looking for you everywhere. You've got what you wanted now, so stop playing games. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I know by heart. Connected in a second. Ken, tell your people to stop bothering me and Jackson, I said calmly. Lillian, I'm not some appendage of yours or playing any reverse psychology game. And I'm not going to stay put in some villa 24/7. We broke up. If you're really so terrified that I or Jackson will damage your career, you can simply choose never to see us again. Even if I went out on the street and told everyone Jackson is your son, without proof, no one would believe it. I glanced at Richard, who looked confused. I continued, maybe you should just hire a hitman, stage an accident, and make me and Jackson disappear from this world. That'd make things easier, wouldn't it? You know, I'd never do something like that. Why say it just to stab at me? Lillian asked. Did Richard find you? She questioned. I didn't want to hear any more nonsense and hung up. I said calmly to Richard, I've already talked to Lillian. We've broken up, it's not just some spat. If you bother me again, I'll call the police. Richard looked shocked. No way. How could you possibly give up on someone as amazing as Lillian? Even me, he stopped abruptly. It dawned on me that Richard had feelings for Lillian, which is why he was so hostile toward me. Do you like her? Then go after her. I don't mind. I shrugged it off as I took Jackson's hand and walked into the apartment building. Richard didn't follow us. Dad, Jackson said worriedly as he tugged my hand. That man came again. What's his relationship with Aunt Lillian? Are we causing her any trouble? My heart ached a little. I crouched down to hug him.
No, honey.
We've already moved on. We won't bother Aunt Lillian anymore. That night, after Jackson went to sleep, I sat by the window, gazing out at the neon lights. I thought about it for a long time and decided not to move. Why should I hide for people who don't even matter? What have I done wrong to deserve living on the run? Standing by the little bed, looking at Jackson's sleeping face, I smiled softly. I may have lost Lillian and family, but I'm not broken. I already have the love of my life, my dear son. For him, I need to stay strong and keep moving forward. I threw myself into work like crazy. I saved up to buy a house. I want to settle down in City S. It's a city full of opportunities. Even if I only have a small place, I'll be happy. I don't need to live in a fancy big house feeling empty inside. People like Richard won't see me as someone who leeches off women, thinking little of me. I won't be looked at with hidden disdain like some bodyguard might. Some might think money solves everything, but that's not me. I value dignity more than money. I want to achieve my dreams. Plus, I've never lacked material things. Living lavishly is hard, but taking care of myself and my child has never been an issue. Chasing dreams at nearly 30 might seem late. But hey, I just need to seize the time and not waste it on regrets. Focus my energy to passionately pursue my goals, like I did when I gave my all for love. I can now do the same for my dreams. I made mistakes and I'll face the consequences. Then, I'll get back up and keep moving forward. My schedule is packed every day, but I still make time for my child. Jackson is very understanding. He said, "Dad, you don't have to struggle to pick me up. Auntie will take care of me." I hugged him and said, "Picking Jackson up is never a struggle." Jackson said, "Dad, working and taking care of me must be hard, right? I want to help you somehow." I replied, "It's not hard because I need you, Jackson. As long as you're with me, I'm full of energy. Don't feel like you need to do anything. Your existence alone gives me joy and happiness." Jackson happily kissed me. We hugged each other. The happiness I once felt with Lillian slipped away without me realizing it. Now I found it once again with my son. His presence alone brings me joy. I continued to work like mad, saving every penny. Only with enough savings can I pursue my dreams without worry. Wendy told me I was her lucky charm. Now she's become mine. A supporting role she played became a hit, raising her status. Her breakthrough photo at a key moment in life was extremely crucial. Many people come to me through reputation. Wendy introduced bigger clients to me too. My rates increased, leading me to resign from the magazine I worked for and becoming a freelance photographer. I earned a huge amount. I quickly saved enough for a house down payment. As my status climbed, people started treating me with the utmost respect. Even when I took Jackson to work at the photography studio, no one complained. Jackson grew fond of photography and played with the gear whenever he could. When possible, I taught him. While I worked, he played with cameras, taking pictures everywhere, just like I did as a kid. Sometimes he'd mess around and break harmless things, but no one dared to say anything. 'Cause I'm a top photographer. People with high skills and status always get special treatment. Maybe I once thought that having a well-known actress as a wife would give me that kind of privilege. But the status I've earned through my own hard work makes me even prouder. Now I know that great people help each other grow, like Wendy and me. But with Lillian, I was forced to hide my wings and become invisible at home. She didn't respect me as an equal. Love made me blind to reality, dragging me down for years. Now, stepping out and reflecting, I see how irrational I was. I don't care how she saw me before. I loved her and have no regrets. Leaving her, no regrets there either. I love fiercely and stand firm. Sometimes I spot Lillian sitting in a car outside my apartment, incognito. I know her too well and can spot her instantly. Seeing me and Jackson, she gets out saying quietly, "Ken, Jackson." Her disguise is too good. Jackson doesn't recognize her and just looks puzzled. I chuckle and say loudly, "How fortunate to run into you here." People glanced over, and she quickly ducked back into her car, too shy to speak to me. We lock eyes through the trees, my smile mocking. She seems embarrassed and drove away. As my status rises, I meet bigger stars. Occasionally, I run into Lillian at the studio. She's lingering nearby, complimenting my photography like we never loved or had a child together. Her eyes are bright, wanting to talk more. I just shake my camera and say, "Lillian, I have work to do." She leaves, disappointed. A few days later, Richard corners me in the restroom. "Ken, she really loves you. You should get back together," he says. I wash my hands, watching his tired face in the mirror. "You like her, so why tell me this?" I ask coldly. After a pause, he explains, "I've followed her for years. She's stayed true, never with another man, even in showbiz. Her beauty, status, and wealth, nobody would believe it. She's clean in a messy world. I couldn't help but admire her." He continues, "When I learned about you, I was so jealous and treated you badly. I'm sorry." "Understood," I say after rinsing my hands. Richard adds, "She's had a tough road. Without strong backing, she's had to be careful at every step. You saw her at her lowest. You should know how hard it's been for her. Her work is her life. She's been loyal to you, why not understand her?" Calmly, I reply, "I get why she struggled, which is why I broke up with her. Trying to reconcile would just complicate things. I leave focused on my job. No time for irrelevant people." Richard didn't approach me again. Lillian didn't either. In 2 years, I bought a house. Perfect timing and circumstances. Housing prices had dropped, and I had saved enough to buy a nice place for Jackson and me. I celebrated with Wendy and some new friends. "If you're busy, don't worry about coming. But you gotta come." That evening, Wendy made it. She is busy, yet she showed up, making me question why Lillian used to cancel so often. We dined at my new place. Jackson held the camera, snapping pictures of us. His angles and feel were spot on, just like me. Jackson's in 2nd grade now, and a global photography contest was starting. He maturely tells me, "Dad, go capture your dreams worldwide. I'll work on mine." I used to think I had to stay with him until he was 18 before I could travel the world for photography. Then Jackson told me I didn't need to do that. Doing so would only burden him. He said, "Didn't you say helping each other is important? Love means supporting each other." He reassured me, "I'm supporting your dream now, and you'll support mine later. Go ahead, Dad." I burst into tears, my eyes red. After weeks of talks, Jackson stood firm and showed he could handle things independently, even getting along with his aunt. He finally convinced me. Sometimes I wonder, if I'm often away from him but claim to love him, am I not just like Lillian? How can I blame her when I do the same? Jackson said, "Dad, it's different." "How?" "I can proudly call you Dad. You can take me out anytime. If I'm sick, you won't leave. We can call each other daily." Stunned, I asked, "Do you know Auntie Lillian?" He nodded. "Yeah, she's my mom." For years, Jackson didn't push about his mother. I thought he had adjusted, but he knew. Unbeknownst to me, he's gone from a clueless child to a sharp little man. I barely remember before 3. But after that, I recall a lot, like when I had a fever and she left me to avoid the paparazzi. Or Uncle Richard locking us in. I didn't get it then, but I do now. She had me call her auntie, and that's all she'll ever be. I hugged him tight. His support gave me confidence. I decided to head to Africa for a photography competition. On the day I left, the sky above the airport was bright and clear. Jackson waved goodbye to me through the sound of the plane engines. "Goodbye, Dad." "Goodbye, Jackson." I turned with some team members from the Geography magazine and walked into the terminal. As we passed by the glass, I saw my reflection dressed in sleek black sportswear, carrying my gear on my back and a camera hanging around my neck. I paused for a moment, lost in thought. My friend called out, "Ken." I snapped out of it and caught up with them in little steps. The more I walked, the bigger my smile grew. A dream of mine from years ago was finally coming true. 2 months later, I returned home. Africa was full of thrilling and unforgettable experiences. I took photos I was proud of. I liked photographing animals more, but my talent still shone through with people. I loved photographing people too. People's souls are reflected in their appearance, their aura, and every move they make. A photographer captures that one special moment. I chose my favorite photo from the long-tongued tribe, lion and man, and sent it to the contest judges. Back home, I spent time playing with Jackson. We stayed in touch regularly while I was in Africa. Unless there was a network glitch, I always let him know I was safe. Now, back home, we spent half a month together. Wendy called one day, "Ken, when are you going to be my personal photographer, as promised?" I thought about it and replied with a smile, "Next month." After hanging out with Jackson, I became Wendy's personal photographer. She finished filming and started a roadshow, and I followed her, capturing many beautiful shots. In recent years, she became pretty famous, just like Lillian back in the day. She also started doing movies and got some good reviews. We became good friends. When the annual Golden Dove Awards came around, I went with Wendy for more shots. One of her movies had been nominated, and she had a good chance of winning Best Actress. The award ceremony was all glitzy and glamorous. Celebrities and famous people were everywhere. I saw Lillian. She seemed more poised and matured, exuding a classy presence. When she saw me, she paused for a second but quickly composed herself. I gave her a calm look and turned away. Wendy was talking to me, and I caught Lillian's jealous gaze. I felt nothing and went inside with Wendy. The awards started. As it reached its peak, the host announced the nominees for Best Actress: Wendy, Lillian, and another actress. The host, who was an actor himself, stretched out the announcement. The room was silent. "Lillian." Wendy showed a fleeting look of disappointment but soon clapped with a smile. Lillian went up to receive the award and gave her speech. After thanking a bunch of people, she said, "Besides those mentioned, I'd like to thank someone else." She thanked someone who had supported her growth. She said it was her third award, and she once promised herself to fulfill his wish after winning 3. The room buzzed. The host asked, "Who is this person?" Lillian held the trophy up and said, "He is my boyfriend, my future husband." "Yes, I have a boyfriend and we have a son." The crowd gasped. The revelation that Lillian secretly had a boyfriend and a son nearly broke the internet. I was there and was a bit surprised, but not much more than that. Offering me what I don't need anymore doesn't move me. It was funny she called it my wish. It was once, but not now. Wendy was shocked and curious. "Wow, Lillian's secret marriage is real. And she even has a son. I wonder who the boyfriend is." I said, "Yeah, who could it be?" Wendy asked, "You think he's in the industry or not?" I shrugged, "No idea." A couple of days later, Lillian drove up to my place. This time, no disguises. She got out boldly and walked up to me as I picked up Jackson from school. "Ken." She took out a fancy box. "Will you spend your life with me?" People around us nearly dropped their jaws. Jackson looked up at me. Lillian's eyes were hopeful. The autumn breeze brushed across our faces, bringing a touch of coolness. I said, "Lillian, we broke up. I won't be with you." Lillian's grand proposal dragged Jackson and me into trouble. Waves of reporters swarmed in trying to interview me. I just took Jackson and hid away in the mountains. Wendy called, "Ken, you really are my big brother, making connections with a big shot." I replied, "So, dating Lillian makes me a big shot? Wasn't I one already?" Wendy, No, that's not what I meant. I mean, it's just such a surprise. Do you get how shocked I am?" I laughed and shared a few words with her, making it clear how I felt about Lillian. She was surprised but understood. Even my mom called me. "You're dating Lillian and she's got a kid? Why didn't you say anything?" She complained on the phone, saying if she'd known, things wouldn't have been so tense between us. I said, "Whoever I'm dating, isn't it still your son? It's the same situation, so why's your attitude different now?" She replied, "But it's Lillian." I hung up, smiling wryly. How I once dreamed of openly being Lillian's husband. Now I no longer needed to be, but Lillian was willing, bringing a lot of hassle my way. After some time, I got news from the photography contest, telling me I won first place and I was invited to Switzerland to accept the award. This outcome thrilled me. I flew to Switzerland with Jackson. The reporters were all over me, snapping photos and asking about my story with Lillian, not caring a bit about my work. I was a little annoyed and didn't respond. On stage, I accepted the award and made a speech. I thought about it and thanked Jackson. Then I said, back home, everyone's shocked I'm Lillian's ex-boyfriend, but we split years ago and won't get back together. I won this award on my own, unrelated to her. As for my son, I trust he'll make his own decisions. I hope people respect me and focus on my career, not whose boyfriend I am. Once I was done, I walked off stage. I have my own life, separate from Lillian. Our paths parted long ago, moving further apart. When the news hit home, it caused quite a stir. Nobody thought it was strange anymore that I turned down Lillian. After all, I'd won a highly prestigious global photography award. I'm a renowned photographer in the industry. My family and I reconnected, but we could never go back to the way things were. Jackson went out with Lillian and I didn't ask about it. He's mature and has his own thoughts. Whatever he chooses, I'll support him. Lillian started openly pursuing me. I used to chase after her, but now it's her chasing me. It's kind of ironic. I still haven't agreed. One day she caught up with me at the park, asking, Ken, is there really no way we can go back to the way things were? I pointed to the nearby camellia and said, like smoke, the flowers have already wilted. Between us, just like those flowers, things have scattered into emptiness, never to return. I looked at her, my heart untouched. With the wind blowing, the clouds dispersed. The love vanished long ago in this endless season. Lillian looked at me, tears streaming down her face. After that, she stopped reaching out. Perhaps she finally realized that we were over for good. Many people don't understand why I can't take Lillian back. I don't need them to understand. After the camellia blooms and fades, I stand alone in my glory. It's about me, for me, not anybody else.